Hello, welcome to my tech farm. My name is Igor and I have another 10-watt laser engraver review in this video. And this box is sent to me by Pergear in exchange for a review. And this is the LaserStorm S10. And it looks like I was right that a new generation of this laser module arrives, because in my previous video I also tested one 10-watt laser engraver. But that was with that one-arm structure, and this is with my favorite structure, which is that frame with an engraving area of 400 by 410 millimeters. And it's my favorite not because of bigger engraving area, but more stable structure, or because of that full frame. And this allows me less vibration on higher engraving speeds. For cutting it's not important, because usually we do cutting on lower speeds. Few specifications about this engraver. I already mentioned the engraving area is 410 by 400 millimeters, 10-watt real laser power, and it also has the possibility to engrave in offline mode from the SD card. For me this is important, but usually my laser engravers are down in a basement and my laptop is here, so I can prepare the NC code or G code, save to the SD card and go down, and I don't have to bring my laptop with me if I want to do some small engraving or cutting. Just don't forget this is tool and not toy, so you always need to use some safety equipment. Like most important is safety glasses, and also don't forget the laser may bounce from the engraving object, so actually everybody in the room should wear some safety equipment. Okay, now let's see what's in the box. The box is already open because I have to check what's inside, because outside there are no markings on it. This is the user manual. It's in 3 languages, I can see. Some textile for cleaning the blinds probably. Oh, quite big steel shade, cutting mat to protect the surface when I do the cutting. A frame alloy extrusion 40 by 20. And there is another one, LaserStorm S10. USB cable. Acrylic, plywood, tools, belts, USB card with adapter. This is the screen. Power adapter. 12 volts, 5 amperes. So cleaning brush. The laser module. Oh. And I need to know about that. This is Atomstack 10-watt laser engraver. Basically this is the same engraver from my previous video, but that was Atomstack manufacturer, so this is some kind of rebrand of the Atomstack engraver. This is a display cable, very similar to the HDMI cable. These are the legs of the engraver. And this is the main unit with the main board. And we have here the emergency stop button, the power plug, USB plug, TF card, on-off button and the reset button. And there is a connection for the display. And this is the X carriage. It is quite pre-assembled. Here we have the laser module holder and the stepper motor for the X moving. And we can see this is the stepper motor for the Y-axis, and it's connected with this long shaft to the other side. So we have only one stepper motor here. Power cable, and 2 more alloy extrusions from the frame, and here we have a limit switch, and the box is empty. Now, interesting fact is that in this kit we don't have a safety glasses, because they claim that this laser module is protected from all sides. Only from here we have this window. But I would disagree with this, because if you cut something and you lift something, you place below it this steel plate, the laser may bounce from the object or from steel plate. So definitely I would highly recommend to use some kind of safety glasses, but in this case you have to buy them separately. First step is assembling the frame, and on Pergear YouTube channel you have the detailed instructions how to do this. Only a few steps I will do a little bit differently. So in first step I am assembling the frame in exactly this position. Only pay attention that we have a limit switch here, so don't use it as a leg. And first I will insert these 8 bolts from the side, and only then I will turn it upside down and tie the bolts diagonally. All 8 bolts are inserted, but they are not tight yet in this step. The bolts are not tight at all, so I will turn it upside down and I am placing it on a flat surface because here we have this limit switch and I couldn't do that in the previous position. And only now I will tie these 8 bolts diagonally. And I'm pressing the frame down with my hand to keep it on a flat surface. And now I can turn it back to the front side, but again be careful with this limit switch. And the next step is mounting the legs. The main unit will be here on the left front side, but I'm starting with these legs. I'm starting with front leg and the main unit. Before you install the back legs, first install this X gantry. The stepper motors goes to the back side. Very important is installing this some kind of rubber which will add the friction to these legs. Step 3 is installing the timing belts. Below the first wheel, around the pulley, and then below the second wheel. And I will lock the end with these T-nuts. It should rotate 90 degrees when I start with the tightening. And now same on the other side, but before I tighten this bolt I have to pull the timing belt so it is tight. Okay. And now the same process on the other side. After fixing the timing belts, one important thing we have to discuss, and that's the squaring between the X and Y alloy extrusions. You can check if these two alloy extrusions are parallel through this gap. If it is not parallel, then you should lose this set screw, and then independently you can turn this pulley until you get the parallel position and then tie back these set screws on the right side. Now I can place these covers on the end of the alloy extrusions. And before I install the laser module, I want to check these eccentric nuts. We have 3 eccentric nuts, 2 on the bottom on y-axis and 1 is on the bottom on x-axis. How to check this? If you can rotate easily in opposite direction these 2 wheels on the other side, in that case you have to tie the eccentric nut with this open-end wrench. In my case it is already tight, so I will not change it more. And now installing the module, it is very simple. We have this screw here. I have to slide in the module and tie the position with this knob. And step 6 is the wiring. With this cable I will connect the screen. As you can see, it is removable, magnetic. Now the wires are not labeled, but it's very easy. So the shortest one goes here into this limit switch. Then we have these 2 wires in the middle of this big cable, and one is the bigger one is for the stepper motor, and smaller one goes to the limit switch. And at the end of these cables we have another connection for the stepper motor. And this one goes to the laser module. With these zip ties the cable management is a little bit better, but far from perfect, and pay attention that to check this module has to reach each point inside this frame. And I'm missing some kind of limiter here, just 2 bolts from the 2 sides on equal distance from the edge, and in that case even the frame, the squaring with this X gantry and Y axis would be easier. Now it is time to give it a power, and for the first engraving I want to choose something from the SD card which is prepared by the manufacturer. Unfortunately, that thing is not changed from the previous one. The fan is always on and it's very noisy. Now let's set the focus first. For this I'm using this acrylic, and I don't need any additional tools, so this is very big plus for this type of the module. And now the focus is set to top of this surface. This is a sample file for cutting and this is for the engraving. It's very hard with the small finger touch it. Let's try with this Allen key. Okay, so with this I can check the frame to see if it is on engraving area. I can see the engraving area is on this plywood. One pass. And during the engraving I can change the power and the speed. Let's try to increase the speed. It moved from the vibration. Unfortunately, the metal very easily slips on this desk, so definitely some kind of rubber is required below these legs. I have to stop the video here. I have to mention that actually these rubber stickers are included, only I noticed after I recorded this video, but at least now you can see how important they are. Legs, but until now I will hold it with my hand, but that's the reason why it moved during the engraving. I will turn it off because the fan is too loud. Oh, much better. But definitely this should be much quieter, and it should turn off when it's not in use. This is from the SD card prepared, so it's fine, it's okay. The problem here that it moved because of the vibration on the desk. But now I want to prepare my own NC code and then engrave again from the SD card without a laptop. And of course it will be a benchy. That's right. I'm loading actually a 2D image of the benchy and I'm setting the center line, and here you can see my settings for the engraving. I'm setting the dimensions. Quick save to the SD card and it's ready for the engraving. Now let's see if it will be recognized. And there it is, benchy. And it's a benchy, 2000 mm per minute, 50% power. And I can see a lot of waves from the vibration because it's too low. Now, problem for this kind of vibration I already discussed in one of our previous videos, and the reason is with this structure, when the center mass is low, as you can see now it is in the lowest position, just a slightly touch and you can see it moves, and this will result that vibration, especially in this direction. And now that my next engraving will be included in all future videos, I will do an engraving in this lowest position, and then I will lift the module up in the highest position and I will repeat this engraving with those square lines. And here they are side by side. This is the y-axis and this is the x-axis. And here it was in the lowest position, here in the highest position. But on this picture I can zoom in and now you can see the difference. How to solve this problem, I gave several suggestions in my previous video. I placed the link to that video down in the description. But the point is that we need more rigid X gantry, wider alloy extrusion, or maybe the linear rail. Or very simple, design this to be in the center of the mass to be here on the alloy extrusion. And now I'm connecting the engraver with my laptop, and in the rest of the video I will do some engraving and cutting different materials. I'm using LaserGBS software because it is free, but it's available only for Windows. Mac and Linux users can use the Lightburn, which is more advanced software, but it's not completely free. And I want to engrave a benchy again, but this time without those waves. This one is a little bit different. These are my settings. Let's change the size to 40 millimeters. Connecting to the engraver. Quick check if I can move it. Okay. Checking the boundaries. Safety glasses. Bench. In my next experiment I want to engrave grayscale image, but for this I have this test file, line to line tracing, 12 lines, right on full power. And there is the zero line, so from this test engraving we can see that approximately from 20% up to almost 100 or 95% we can use this grayscale with these settings. Now let's try some cutting. I have here 4 pieces of 2mm plywood, and with one pass I will see how much will be cutting. I'm preparing a new file for the cutting. It's 10 by 10 millimeter square, and here you can see my new settings. And only during the video editing I noticed that in Y direction actually the laser goes through all 4 pieces. I have to turn it off because too big noise in the background. Let's see how many plywoods are cut in one pass. 2. And third only partly. So approximately between 4 and 6 millimeter plywood can be cut in one pass. Probably 5 millimeter is the maximum in one pass on 100 millimeters per minute full power. This is MDF, somebody wrote me in a comment, and usually with this laser I should cut it with the 2 passes, but let's try. I noticed the flame only during the video editing, so that's the real reason why the edges are so burned. Interesting, this was cut with the same laser module in my previous video, but now it is more burned. I'm very curious, if I raise the engraving speed to 200, how many passes I need and will get a better quality. Of course, the best would be to have some air assist, but I have to work what I have now. Well, actually one corner again catched fire, so that's why it is so black. And now let's cut this 3mm acrylic, and this is what I usually get with 5W laser power. It's cut in one pass on one side, but in X direction it's not completely, so usually I always need 2 passes for 5W laser. I can constantly see the laser on the other side, and also you can understand now why we need those safety glasses. In one pass. And now I'm engraving stainless steel. This is door to short focus, long focus, and this is with the same laser module in my previous video, and this is really nice. I can feel the etching inside. And I'm curious if I do the same, because I did this directly on the stainless steel, and now I'll use this black marker, and I'm curious if I will get better results than this. And let's clean this with some isopropyl alcohol. Now for the filling is not so deep like this one where I engraved directly on a stainless steel, but it has much nicer color. I'm not sure how permanent it is, but I couldn't clear it more. So definitely this one looks much better than this one, but for the filling, this is much deeper engraving. On Atomstack YouTube channel I saw that they engrave a glass, so I'll try to engrave here on this glass, and for this I will use this Atomstack rotary roller. First I have to leave the position of the laser engraver, and for this I'm using these legs which are provided with this rotary roller, and I'm setting the new focus position. Almost everything is prepared now. I connected the rotary roller into Y-axis cable on the laser engraver, and I have to mark the surface with this black marker, and I'll test with different spins and I'll see the results. I'm loading the logo, and this time I will use the line tracing, and here you can see my settings. I'll try with 500 mm per minute full power. I'm setting the dimensions, and it's ready for engraving. Checking the boundaries and starting with engraving. Let's clean this with isopropyl alcohol. So it's there, very hardly visible, but yes, it's there definitely. And even for the touch I can feel it's engraved. Maybe if I put some liquid inside it will be more visible. And now my final thoughts. Yes, definitely very powerful laser engraver. I can feel those 10 watt powers during the cutting. But be careful with the cutting, because it can easily catch a fire. So air assist would be very useful for the cutting, especially with these stronger laser engravers. For engraving, well, I have to play with the settings, but very often I have to reduce the power. I don't use 100% power, but reduce it instead of increasing the speed, because on the corners when it slows down it can easily cut these, for example, 2mm plywoods. Yes, very steady structure. I really like this frame, very big engraving area, 400 by 410 millimeters. And I really like that this solution, I don't need additional tool for moving the module up and down to set the focus, because with this knob it's always here and I can easily set the distance. Only a few things I didn't like with this engraver, and definitely the same problem like with the previous one, the fan. It is very noisy and it's always on, so at least it would be very useful to turn it off a few seconds after the laser engraving stops. The second is the vibration of the module, especially if it is in the lowest position. It vibrates a lot, so you cannot use those higher engraving speeds, because you will have those waves in Y direction. And last one, this cable management. So I saw a lot of better solutions, and definitely I disagree with Atomstack, because it's the brand of this laser module, that the safety glasses are not needed because it's surrounded. Yes, it is when you do some engraving on the wood, for example. But if you do some cutting and you're using this stainless steel plate, which is provided with the engraver, in that case the laser goes through, and definitely we have a lot of bouncing laser. So definitely I think the safety glasses are needed in that case, but you have to buy them separately because they're not included in this kit. And I noticed it's a little bit hard to set the start position of the laser through this window. Maybe a solution would be some kind of easily removable protection glass. Anyway, that's it. If you have any experience or suggestions, then write me a line in a comment. Thank you for watching and happy engraving!